Hey everybody, this is Carl back again for another Christmas spoiler review. Uh right now just want to let you guys know, if you're watching this live, that this will be posted on YouTube. I'm doing this on Twitch because I got a copyright strike from trying to do a reaction video of a death battle video. It's like completely stupid and ignorant stupid YouTube bots, and it should be like a proper customer service center you can call to actually fight this. But irregardless, I can't post anything on YouTube until at least January 5th, so I'm not going to be doing death battle videos anymore. So if you're watching this in the future, you can leave a comment below and let me know what you thought of the film. And so it's gonna be like a late Christmas review. There's only two of them that I had left, but is this one, Bad Santa, and the Office Christmas Party movie is the only two left, so it's not a big deal ultimately. So yeah, so sorry about that. Should have probably done it like a little earlier, but I wasn't feeling too well to watch a couple of days ago, and I watched it late yesterday. So anyway, regardless of that, I am doing like a review of Bad Santa, starring Billy Bob Thornton. And by the way, I don't know if it's just in my mind, but if you know Millie Bobby Brown, I keep thinking that she's related to Billy Bob Thornton for some doggone reason. Millie Bob Thornton, something like that. You know what I mean? Anyway, it's just my weird brain working. Billy Bob Thornton playing Willie T. Soak, Tony Cox as Marcus, Brett Kelly as Thurman Merman, Lauren Graham as Sue, Lauren Tom as Lois. They got the late great Bernie Mac as Jen, and the late great John Ritter as Ba Chapiska. And this movie really blew up. It came out in November 2003, and it just like blew up. Because I didn't go to the theater to see it. I'm not sure at that time people. Clearly it was like a raunchy movie or something like that. I didn't see it on TV until like at least a few years later to actually just check it out. It really was not on my radar like that. But everybody, I heard like so many people talk about how great this movie is. It's really good. It really is really good. It's fun to return back to this film, man. It does hold up. Of course, 13 years later, there was a sequel to this that I thought was, I don't think I went to the theater to see it anyway either. But when it came on TV eventually, I thought it was still pretty good, but yeah, it wasn't as good as the previous film. I just want to put that out there. But anyway, we meet Willie, who works with Marcus as they're thieves. They go from state to state. But they've been doing this like, I don't know how many years, like at least a few years. They go to different states to pull off heists, playing as a mall Santa and his little person dressed as an elf, and they partners in crime. And they case the place while working at this spot, and they rob the place on Christmas Eve night, and then go off to the next state to do a different heist. And once they pull off one racket, Willie said, like, I'm out, this is the last score kind of thing. Of course, in these heists, there's always a person talking about they're doing like a last score type of thing. Kind of typical. But he Marcus says like, "Oh, you're full of crap," because you know he's a sex addict, you know, alcoholic, and you know, like he curses a lot. He's a kind of a degenerate, and you know, he really talking about like, "Oh, I'm moving to Miami. I'm probably gonna take the money and start like open my own bar or something like that." You don't know. Of course, he doesn't. He is in Miami, but he pissed like Marcus, you know, proclaims you're gonna piss away all that money, and by the next year I will be calling you, and I bet you'll be jumping for joy into working with me again, which does happen. So they go to Phoenix to pull off a new heist, and of course Willie just doesn't have his crap together, and it's not like, yeah, he's like a complete shit bag of a person. He just like kind of a degenerate. It's like he has some semblance of a soul, let's put it that way. Because you know, there's certain things like he's just like a abhorrent to. He's just like a thief. He likes to drink. He likes to, you know, steal stuff. He doesn't want to hurt anybody unless they do crap to him first. Because in a sequel, I remember that he you know, built this center. He thought he was like a pedophile or something like that. So he's kind of like, you know, like he has lines he won't cross, obviously. Then while like, you know, he's sitting, there's funny moments where he just listen to all these kids, you know, ask them what they want, and of course he's just not like with it. And then you meet Thurman Merman, who's like very gullible. He's a sweet kid, but very gullible and kind of dim with it, like to an almost in the same degree, where he actually believed he's like, well, kind of like Forrest Gump in a way, you know. uh he actually believes that, well, he says towards in the third act of the film, he points out like, you know, I know you're not the real Santa. I just thought you'd be my friend. So it's like, you know, he it's kind of like what, you know, what Forrest Gump says in the film. It's like, I'm not a smart man, but I do know what love is. It kind of put in that same ethos where he's not a complete idiot. He's just like very, very gullible. Anyway, he constantly asks him all these kind of questions though. It's like, you know, where did the reindeer sleep? You know, where's Mrs. Claus? Do you know all the elves' names? It's like, God, it's like one of those kids that asking you like a million and one questions because they're curious. They're curious at their age. I get it, but it's like the kid is not taking a hint. Maybe he's got like, you know, some level of ADHD or something like that. I'm not a psychiatrist. I don't know, but it just seems he comes off that way because he just not, because typically, you know, certain people have those kind of diagnosis where it's like they are not able to pick up on social cues as well as others, so they won't get the hint that, hey, you asking too many questions, slow down, or I don't know, you're bothering me, or it's like, you know, you make me uncomfortable, that kind of thing. He's not grasping that, so that's why I'm assuming that. Of course, we didn't have this kind of knowledge back in 2003 when this movie came out, where we would, you know a whole lot better 10 years or so down the line. Anyway, one night, Willie meets up with this bartender named Sue, who he had a casual fling with, who has like a Santa Claus kind of fetish, because I guess she was like raised with a Jewish father, so she didn't really experience those kind of festivities. So it's like, you know, you know, as she puts it, it's like you're bar for something, you makes you even a lot more curious about it, that kind of situation. And then as she walks away, Willie gets attacked by this weird dude that at some point earlier in the movie I just never remember this dude earlier. I don't know what it is. I've seen this movie like at least a handful of times, and every time I don't really focus on this weird ethnic dude who attacks Willie in the parking lot that Thurman saves him from. Because like I guess Willie makes some kind of homosexual comment to him or something like that. Was comes out of nowhere. It's like, God, it's like, why do I not remember you? It's like I remember like all the stuff in Miami and meeting up with Marcus and meeting up with John Ritter in the mall. It's like, I do not remember you. Like, who are you? You just come out of like the first time I always focus on this dude because the camera focuses on him, or he just mean mugging Willie in the bar, and then him attacking him in the parking lot. That's the only time I've seen this guy. So, but it's like, it's weird. I don't know why I cannot like grasp like any prior altercation. Like, I don't know, it may be blinking and miss it kind of thing, but somebody kind of like, I got me rewatch it, the beginning parts, and try to focus on where this guy is, because I cannot. Maybe it's like a deleted scene or something. I can't recall. Anyway, Willie gives this kid a ride home because he waits outside for Willie to get off work. So Willie decides to, because the kid takes a bus everywhere, and he takes, Thurman takes the bus everywhere. Willie drives him home and realizes he's living in this like this very ritzy house, and attempting to rob the place. He sees like a very this senile old lady who's like a guardian, some level of a guardian to Thurman, while the mom's passed away, and Thurman's father, who he believes is on like a mounting trip, but he's in prison for embezzlement. That's why the ritzy house. So you find later that not only he stole some money out the guy's safe, but later on he ends up bunking in his house because the motel Willie's staying at is being raided, assuming by police officers who probably tracking this guy down from all the prior thefts in previous states. So over time, Willie starts to warm up to this kid a bit. It's kind of annoying, but it's like he's feeding the kid fried bologna sandwiches and calling it a tostada by just putting like some salsa on top, which kind of gets me thinking like, man, I'm kind of in the mood for some tacos right now. Now I'm thinking about it, but I do not want to go out in this freaking cold. It's so cold. It's gonna be so cold this weekend, and it's like, oh god. That's why I went grocery shopping, thankfully, when I went to work yesterday. So I got some stuff that hopefully can last me a while, until like at least close to when I go back to work next Wednesday, at least the day before, so that way I don't have no reason to step out in this freaking cold. I do not want an excuse to go out in this cold. Anyway, the kid gets picked on by these skateboarding bullies, and of course Willie, it's like you hear the story about like Willie's upbringing. It's like his father was like even like a more of an asshole. He put lit cigarettes out on him as a kid and that kind of thing, so he had to learn to like take care of shit himself. So I really wish like cinema therapy guys can do a breakdown on Willie from Bad Santa, because I'm pretty sure he is a much needed therapy, and from sex addiction, and alcohol addiction, and everything like that. Because this dude is like, really gone through it. Especially in the sequel when you meet his mother, played by Kathy Bates. It's like, he comes from like a very crap life. Nature nurture type of situation. So Willie later on teaches his kid, how to fight and defend himself. All the while, dealing with like Marcus, because Marcus is trying to wrangle this guy in because he's sitting there like pissing himself in like in a Santa chair and everything like that, and it's like this dude is like just not. It's like the weakest link of any heist movie like you can think of. It's like, wow, it's like a poor excuse for like because he knows how to crack a safe. That's the thing. Despite his drunkenness and other stuff, he knows how to crack a safe in just a couple of minutes, and he knows his safe work. Thanks to like his parents being like thieves themselves and what have you, like low life cons, so he knows how to crack safes. Then of course you got like John Ritter, who this is his like last film before he ended up passing away before the movie was released. He's going to Jen, played by Bernie Mac, who a few years later he himself passed away. He goes to him, with like complaints about like certain things Willie says, and him finding him like having sex with like a heavyset woman in like the woman's changing room and stuff like that. And then later on, Jen confronts Marcus and Willie after he run plates on Willie's car that he ended up taking from Thurman's house that belongs to his father. He meets up with Thurman's father in prison, asking him certain questions, but don't really tell him what's going on. Then he confronts Willie and Marcus after finding out that they're thieves, and knowing that they're planning on robbing the mall, he asks for a half. So it's like it's not sitting well with Marcus, because like now their big score is going to be dwindled significantly, despite Marcus piss poorly trying to negotiate. And it's like, in this funny moment, it's like 48 off, 49. And when you see like Willie, it's like, what's one more point? it's like, because you might as well just F it, because like you're not, because like he got them bent over a barrel at this point. It's like there ain't no room to negotiate anything, because he can easily just call the cops on him right away. So Marcus later on with his girlfriend, or he says wife, but I'm not sure they're really married, but wife played by Lauren Tom, ends up killing Jen in a secluded area with their car, pretending like they need like a jump on their vehicle, so that way they don't have to pay half, or be worried about him snitching on them later. Then Thurman tells Willie what he wants for Christmas, this pink elephant thing, which I guess is fine. But it's like no young boy would ever ask for a pink elephant. That's something like a little girl would ask for, but you would think it was at least in like an action figure or something akin to that. Maybe not like a video game, but it's something akin to it. But I guess it kind of fits given like Thurman's sensibilities. And of course, like, you know, he brings Sue to the house, and of course Sue, you know, she's not a degenerate, but you can tell like she, you know, sweet woman, but you know, she probably has some kind of level of a past. Yeah, that's why she works as like a bartender. Not that like, you know, anything wrong being a bartender, but it's, you know, so Thurman and Willie, you know, started like decorating the house and putting popcorn strings on the Christmas tree and everything like that. So it's like giving like Willie some stability, so and some sense of like an actual like a normal life, because he was well prepared to kill himself before Marcus called him up to do another heist. But then during the heist, Willie sees the pink elephant after they eventually got the safe open. Marcus and Lois are prepared to kill Willie, pointing out like, you know, every year you're just getting worse and worse, and you're gonna become a liability, and I can't have that. So he's planning on shooting him, but thanks to a suicide note that he left Thurman to later find, because he was planning on killing himself before he had to go and beat up those skateboarders from, you know, constantly picking on Thurman. You know, Thurman called the cops that later show up, which somehow they came in super quiet. But then, you know, cause, you know, Willie, Lois, and Marcus to scatter, and of course they end up chasing. They bust Willie and Lois, but they end up going into a high-speed chase with Willie, and Rodney King style, you know, not I won't say Rodney King style, but it's, you know, he made like a Rodney King joke, but it's like he just like, you know, had like they're shooting down like a guy dressed as Santa Claus on the doorsteps of Thurman's house. Luckily, miraculously, plot armory not hitting any vital organs, but of course it caused like a big stir, because like you like a public suburban neighborhood and have a whole bunch of kids on Christmas Eve watching a bunch of cops shooting down a guy dressed as Santa Claus. Of course, thanks to the suicide note with all the information about the confessing and the what's going to happen on night of Christmas Eve with the robbery, all the stuff, he wouldn't be going to jail, and he managed to at least trying to get this toy to make sure that this kid has like a happy Christmas, because, you know, his Christmas has been kind of crap in the last couple of years. So you want to make sure at least do a good thing for this kid. And of course, Sue is like a temporary guardian for Thurman. Not sure if I'm doing like a spoiler review right away of Bad Santa 2 next year. I want to point out that, slight spoiler, you know, Sue doesn't show up in the sequel, and Thurman's dad is just completely abandoning the kid outright, with also the grandmother passing away 2 years prior to the start of the second film. So Thurman, 21, has a decent job. Not sure he is left anything. He should have been left, you know, a decent amount of money, but you know, Sue, understandably, is not going to hold it against her, not want to stay to be a permanent parent to this kid. But it's like, wow, there's like, he's 21, so nobody really legally is required to look after him, but bet this dude, like, this kid has gone through some, like, you know, luckily he's kind of naive and it's not picking up on it, but man, that is just like freaking sad for this kid. But movie ends on a relatively happy note. But yeah, that was Bad Santa. It's like, it is a really good movie. Some of the jokes, you know, lands well, but I don't remember when I first saw this. I only saw this like at least a good 3-4 times in the past. Every once in a while, it's not one of my favorite Christmas movies, but every once in a while, if I feel the need to watch it, I check it out if it's been a while. But you know, I don't remember when I first saw this laughing really hard, because some people think this movie is freaking hilarious, and there's hilarious moments in it, don't get me wrong, but you know, it's just like a cool movie to watch. It's kind of like no different from Will Ferrell's movie Elf. Like, I can understand why this movie is like a classic, and I do get enjoyment out of it, but there are things that doesn't make me laugh from it like that. Even though I think it's just a good movie, it's just not a hilarious movie. But yeah, this movie did like do great in the box office. It's just a shame the sequel, which I think is just as equally as good, I think it's on the same level as far as quality, in my opinion. But just, I don't know, just never. I think I maybe got a slight more laughs in the sequel than I did with this, but still, it's like an equal playing field. It's a really good movie, worth a watch, but you might get a laugh here and there. Me, maybe I got some laughs when I first saw it, but after a while, it's just kind of like, the laughs is not getting to me. Anyway, I got one more Christmas movie to review that will be later posted on YouTube and by January 5th, so you can watch it later. But once you see this later on YouTube, leave a comment below, let me know what you thought of Bad Santa. Did you still get laughs from this at all, or did the laughs kind of mellow out to you, but you still like it? Let me know, and I will see you guys later. Peace.